Choir, that was amazing. I love the first song you did. I love that song. It is exciting for me to be here. I think I'm more excited to be here talking to you than you are to be graduating. I honestly believe that. I watched you guys grow up from kindergarten. I remember a school bus ride the whole way home from, I think it was D.C. or Baltimore. We went to the zoo. That was one of the most sickening rides I ever took in my life, in a school bus. Let me be clear about tonight. Tonight, the words that I say to you are not words that I put together because I thought they would sound good talking to the class of 2011. They are words that come from my heart. They are words and direction I would like to give you tonight. There was a young girl who walked out onto the beach one day. And this little girl went out there to see a tragic scene. There were starfish all over the beach. A terrible storm had brought in these starfish, and they were on the beach dying. And this little girl walks out, and she wanted to make a difference, so she started throwing starfish back into the ocean. And as she's throwing them back into the ocean, a man walks up to her and says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Look at how many of, there's thousands, tens of thousands maybe, of these starfish on the beach. You will never make a difference." And the little girl paused. She picked one up, threw it in the ocean, turned to the man and said, "I made a difference in that one." Tonight is my desire to challenge you, class of 2011, to be world changers. I want you to be something amazing that future graduating classes will look at you and say, "I want to be like them. I want to make a difference. I want to change the world." Class of 2011, I want you to be that class that goes out and makes a difference. However, I feel as though my generation has taught you to seek temporary pleasures. To seek the temporary pleasures of this life that in the end only serve you and only make you happy. We have taught you to be a generation of what's in it for me. And I want you to be world changers. Listen to this, young people. Temporary things only offer temporary happiness. Things you find happiness in that are temporary will only offer you temporary happiness. You know what? I remember when I was a kid, and I would see these commercials saying, "You buy these sneakers, you'll be able to jump higher, you'll be able to run faster." I believed those commercials. And I would get a new pair of sneakers, and I would literally, I'm not lying to you, I would put on these sneakers, I'd say, "Mom, look, I can jump higher." And I would jump for her. And I would go outside, I'd run up to the corner, and I'd turn around, I'd sprint back, and I swore I was faster in these new shoes. Oh, they brought such happiness to me. But that happiness, it was temporary. It was about 3 days long. They were no longer new. Do you remember your first cell phone? Who remembers your first cell phone? Oh my goodness, you were on top of the world. That was one of the happiest days of your life. You could not wait to go and show your friends this new cell phone. You were connected with the world anywhere you wanted to be connected. And you showed all your friends, and you were happy. But then in a couple months, some of your friends started getting these cool phones called a chocolate or a razor phone or that cool little slim one that played music. And you went and you started complaining about that what used to be an awesome phone. And you said, "Look at this piece of junk I got." That's what you did. Temporary pleasures. It grows from there, though. Those temporary things, to your car, to your job, to your career, to your house, to a vacation home. They're all temporary things that will bring temporary happiness. Katie McMahon. Do you want to be remembered for having a sweet car, a nice house? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who didn't waste time chasing temporary pleasures? Do not chase temporary pleasures. That is my first law to being a world changer. My second law to being a world changer is this: The company with which you choose to surround yourself will influence you as to who it is you become. If you surround yourself with those who choose to waste their God-given talents and abilities with mundane, self-serving, thoughtless, pointless, and uncaring ideas and tasks, you will never discover your full potential as to who it is that you are, and eventually you will be sucked into their world of being people who merely take up space, use up good oxygen, and never amount to anything productive. Nick Rouse, is that who you want to be? Senior from Carlisle High School, we were talking about the same subject, and it's like, what do you want to do before you die? He said, I want the world to be a better place because I lived, not because I died. And me personally, I want to be a world changer. Have you ever thought about your funeral? Weird question, isn't it? Have you ever thought about what are people going to say about me at my funeral? I'm all over Facebook. I know what's out there. And you know what I'm afraid some people will be saying about it, a lot of the people that I know? They'd be like, oh my goodness, she's awesome. She has like 3 million sheep on her Farmville farm. And the guy would say, dude, Call of Duty, nobody can beat that guy. He spends like 12 hours a day playing that game. Connor Ronan. Would you rather hear that? Or would you rather hear somebody say, you're a world changer? When I die, I want people to say, Greg Hench changed my life. Bobby Nessia, what do you want people to say about you? I think I know what you're thinking right now. Greg Hench, we are but one person in a world of 6 billion people. How are we going to change the world? It's not about changing 6 billion people. It is about changing one person every chance you possibly can. It's about making a difference in someone's life. The story of the little girl and the starfish wasn't over. The older man stood there and he watched the little girl as she was picking up starfish and throwing them back into the ocean. And he joined in and he started helping her. And other people on the beach started helping as well. And they saved all the goldfish that day. Starfish. I knew I was going to say goldfish at some point. When you think about your life and what it is you want to become, are you interested in just being average, or do you want to be something more? Josh Conklin. Do you just want to be average? No. I am standing here as someone who was so academically average in high school. I stand in front of you as a Vo-Tech student who never made the honor roll, who struggled with English class, who failed first grade because I could not read well. I still have a very low reading comprehension level. And algebra still makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. But I'm standing here because I have chosen to be a world changer. And much of that has happened because of who I'm around. And those people have supported me, encouraged me, and pushed me to a higher standard and a higher calling. In my endeavors to change the world, I've had the opportunity to speak to about 3,000 students over the last 2 years concerning those with disabilities. And I did that against the odds if you looked at my history as a student. I did that because I wanted to make a difference. My desire is to be a world changer. I may not change the world, but I may change the world of one, or one graduating class, or one school. I have determined and planned to make the choice daily. Every day it's a choice to change the world around you. And I have surrounded myself with the right people who desire to change the world as well. You know what? You can find me in this school or this school over here every Friday morning just about. And what am I doing? I'm hanging out with the life skill kids. I go into that class, and you know what? I may not change the world, But when I'm in there, I'm changing the world of about 12 because I've chosen to. What if this little girl had decided to allow this older, certainly smarter and wiser man convince her that she could not make a difference? She wouldn't have made a difference. She would have gone back to wherever it was she was staying, and she would have turned on the TV and done nothing. Kelsey Goodhart, what about you? Who are you listening to? If you become a world changer, others are going to want to jump in and pitch in and become a world changer as well. The company with which you choose to surround yourself will be influential as to who you become. Jordy Darchicourt, who are you listening to? My youth group and I, we recently had a conversation about what does an above-average person look like in a public school. And it came down to looks, brains, athleticism, and popularity. As we looked into history, who were history makers? Who were world changers? And we talked about 3 people. We talked about Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, and Rosa Parks. What made these people different? What made them different is they had no concern for themselves. They cared about people and making a change, no matter the circumstances or the consequences. A cameraman was following Mother Teresa around, and he was videoing her as she was changing the bandages on a man with leprosy. And as he's watching this, he made the comment, "You couldn't pay me $1 million to do that." And Mother Teresa replied, "Yeah, you couldn't pay me $1 million to do it either." She wanted to serve people and make a difference. Mother Teresa was not concerned with finding happiness in temporary things. Martin Luther King was not who he was because he hung out with people who played games all day. And Rosa Parks did not become influential, successful, and the woman that she became by not having a plan. And it takes a plan. I wish I had time to talk to you about Miss Heckman, my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Byers, my coach for soccer and wrestling, Mr. Strine, my 8th grade science teacher, and the custodian at my school in elementary at Moreland. I wish I had time, but I don't. But I can tell you that as I'm approaching 50 years old, one thing I can tell you is I would rather be a custodian in an elementary school who is influential and makes a difference in the lives of little children than to be a multimillionaire and have everything to make me temporarily happy, women, cars, homes, whatever. I would rather be influential and a custodian in a school. Class of 2011, forgive us, forgive me and my generation for holding you back from doing great things and being world changers. Forgive me and my generation for telling you and showing you that it is okay to watch television and get angry because your favorite football team lost on TV, and never to teach you to be angry about the AIDS situation in Africa. I'm sorry that my generation taught you that it is okay to get upset and cry over a game you play. But we didn't teach you well enough to cry and be upset when you're hanging with your friend who just found out a family member has cancer, or to find out that their family is about to go through a divorce. Forgive us for not teaching you how to cry and teaching you to just go, "Oh, that's a shame," and move on with life. I hope that you will learn by our mistakes. I hope you will not pass on to the next generation what we have given you. On my Facebook page, you can read this. I've come to a place in my faith journey where I have grown weary of the label Christian, simply because so many claim it that have no clue as to what it means. Otherwise, they would be living differently. I have studied the life of Jesus, and it is my desire to live like he lived, love like he loved, and be somebody who looks like the Jesus that did so many amazing things, but nearly always passed the praise and glory on to his Father. He was humble, but yet he was willing to put people in their place when needed. He was willing to forgive, to heal, to hug, to cry, to give attention and compassion to many people with special needs. He hung with the heathens as well as the righteous. He spoke truth and did not give ear to foolish talk. Gandhi quotes, "I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. Your Christians are so unlike your Christ." My desire is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and to love my neighbor as I love myself. That is my desire. Class of 2011, don't settle for temporary happiness. Surround yourself with people who are going to build you up and make you world changers. Seek truth. Seek truth. The things of this world are but temporary. And go and love your neighbor as you love yourself. God bless you, class of 2011, Boiling Springs High School.